Hey guys, I'm finally doing my post PRK journey. So it's been 4.5 years. I was planning on doing this like 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, like 1 year post surgery. And life just gets away from you. Life's been so busy. I just had another baby, so my fifth kid. I just turned 41. We had him about 5 months ago. So that was very unexpected. Life has just been like a crazy roller coaster in the last 4 years since I've posted my very first video. That's why literally it just wasn't even on my mind to make an update. And I honestly forgot that I even made the video. And then I started using my YouTube channel again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have comments on here. I'm obviously very not professional in terms of making content or YouTube videos. So I'm so sorry. But here is what I'm going to say. So about 4.5 years now, I am very happy. I still struggle with dry eyes. Probably a little more than I struggled with prior to the surgery. So prior to the surgery, I had like one stint of severely dry eyes and then I went and got like tear duct plugs, and that seemed to have resolved the issue. Post-surgery, I had to go get those back in around 3 months because my left eye was just not healing. And I thought it was overcorrection, but I really think it was just severely dry. So, because as soon as we got that plug in and I started doing a pretty consistent application of ointment, like at night, and then, re-wetting drops throughout the day, I started to heal slowly. I will say to you, it was the most stressful journey. So if you are there and you are stressed out because your eyes are basically effed up, just hang in there, because I was like a hot mess. Like my left eye wasn't seeing good far and near. I had problems with depth perception. Like I mentioned before, I was an ER nurse, so my work became extremely challenging. But I'm a tough cookie. I've gone through a lot of stuff. So I just pressed through. I did whatever I could to survive through that season. And slowly my vision got better. It wasn't quick. I think that I was an extremely slow healer. I think that around 6 months, I wasn't obsessed about my vision anymore. And I was seeing pretty decently to where I wasn't constantly thinking about it. And by about a year, I had completely adapted. So I still feel like when I went and got my vision rechecked recently, they say I'm 20/20. My left eye, I personally think, is like more like 20/30, but together they are 20/20. And I really think it could be due to the fact that I still deal with that dry eye, and that I probably have maybe a little bit of corneal scarring from all the corneal abrasions that I've suffered in the past. So that's been my journey. I made like 72 other videos that were 50 times the length of this. It was a really frustrating journey. I wish I did a lot more research before I went in. I didn't realize, like, the repercussions with the dryness. Not only because I was just thinking, okay, we're gonna deal with dry eyes. Like, I already deal with dry eyes. Maybe it's gonna be a little worse, But what I didn't realize is that when you already have dry eyes, you are setting yourself back in terms of how you're gonna heal and how quickly and well you heal. Because when your eye is dry, you're just not, your epithelial cells, I don't think it's just not the same healing process. So I needed a lot more help in terms of, I think we got back on steroids at some point. I had restarted steroids. And then I think that we prescribed Restasis. Like, I had gone through quite a few things. I was in and out of the doctor's office. It was really, really hard to keep positive and hopeful, because I feel like with your eyes, it's really hard to avoid thinking about your issue, because you're literally you're using them every day. You can't not think about it. It's because you're constantly dealing with it, versus like maybe any other bodily problem, you can maybe avoid thinking about it. With eyes, it was just like impossible. So now what do I do to combat my dry eyes? I have a humidifier that I use off and on throughout the year. Like winter months, I definitely need it more when I live in the Seattle area, so we have a pretty high moisture content in the air. That's very helpful. As soon as it kind of hits to spring, I also basically as soon as it's not raining as much, I have to use a humidifier. And off and on throughout the year, I'll use my ointment again and the rewetting drops. I may already said this, and if so, I'm sorry, because it's so hard to remember everything that you've said. Yeah, that's been my journey. Overall, like I said, I'm pretty happy now. I don't know if I could ever live in a dry climate such as Arizona. My husband's from there. We visit annually, and I basically wish I could have a humidifier blowing at my face at all times, because it's hard, especially at the end of the day. My eyes are basically feel sandy. They're so dry. And basically anywhere that I have a lot of AC blowing in the air in the room, that's where I struggle. So that's where I'm at. If you are on a journey where you're struggling, do not give up. Hang in there. Do what you can. Also, one thing, lastly, I'm going to mention, I want to keep getting off the call, but video, whatever. Take supplements. I did not take my supplements because that was a whole nother story. I'm not going to get into why I didn't. But I really did. I wish I took my fish oils, like cod liver oil. I wish I took cod liver oil religiously. Astaxanthin, I think, is another one. Vitamin A. I wish I took way more supplements in terms of helping me heal. Right now I would start with taking oyster supplements. Those are really high in zinc, and selenium, and they're amazing. I would be taking that, and I would be taking cod liver oil and maybe a few other eye supplements, because I think that would have really helped my journey. All right, you guys, bye. Okay, I also want to say how close I could see now. So before, I was I could see super, super close, and it was not blurry. Now, if something is really close to my face, it's blurry to me. And I would say now about 6 inches from my face, it's no longer blurry. So that has been the change. They tell you that this can happen when you later on in life. That happened to me pretty much right away. So that being said, I'm still able to read books. I don't, hold them super far, or I don't need readers anymore. I did need readers in the interim while I was healing. But now, don't use readers at 41, still reading. I do believe also in eye exercises. I've been doing a little more eye exercises. One of them is you put your 2 fingers kind of on your eye, and then you blink your lower lid, and you squeeze them shut. That really helps just kind of strengthen the muscles around your eye. I've been doing that. There's a lot more you can find online, so you can YouTube that. But yeah, so able to read. I read every night before bed, and it's I'm pretty fine. Whenever I check my left eye versus my right eye, still definitely see better with my right eye, but that's definitely been a change for me in terms of how close I could see. But like I said, it's not something I think about anymore. I have completely adapted to that. So there's that as well. I just wanted to mention that, because I do remember talking about how frustrated I was that I lost my super near vision.